everyone, myself Khyati Vyas from JNP English Medium Saraswati Group of Education. Today I am conducting this session for grade 6, subject SS. We are dealing with chapter number 4 in history, that is the first civilization in India, and this is my session number 2 for this chapter. So kids, this chapter we have already learned about in our previous grade. We already have so much information regarding the Harappan civilization or the Indus Valley civilization. This Indus Valley civilization is considered to be the first civilization that was in India. This Harappan or the Indus Valley civilization, it spread across river Indus, and that is why it is called Indus Valley civilization. Across river Nile, the civilization that grew was the Egyptian civilization, right? Yes. So now, in our previous session, I had already covered the extent of this civilization and how the town planning was done and the grid system in which they constructed their house, etc. Even the drainage system through which they drainage system is the system in which the liquid waste from the house was released out, right? All this we have discussed in our earlier session. In today's session we will discuss regarding important buildings, economic condition, art and craft, social life, religious practices, scripts, and lastly the decline of this civilization. How did this civilization come to an end? So let us begin with the first topic, that is important buildings. We find evidence of several important buildings in the city of Indus Valley civilization. There are many evidences. Evidences means proofs. One of the largest buildings so far discovered is the Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro. One of the buildings that is important for Indus Valley civilization is the Great Bath, and it is in Mohenjo-daro. It appears to be one of the most important public places. It comprised a tank made of beautiful brick work. Great Bath is nothing but a big tank. It is made of a brick, made up of bricks. Tank, you can say, you have swimming pools as well. That is also a tank. Yes. So this Great Bath was also a big tank and it was made of bricks. At the north and south end of the Great Bath, brick steps led to the bottom of the tank. North and south end, they had steps through which you can go to the bottom of this Great Bath, which could be emptied by a drain. So this Great Bath, its water could also get emptied by a drain. Means if they want to refresh the water, remove the old water and then fill the tank with new water, it was also fixed to a drain. It is suggested that the Great Bath was meant for some elaborate ritual of virtual importance for the people. So it is said that this tank, Great Bath, might have been made for some elaborate, means great ritual, big ritual, right? Ritual is some customs, practices, right? How we do this yagnas, havan, everything, they are also rituals. So some kind of rituals was being practiced in Great Bath as we suppose. To the west of the Great Bath, there lay a large granary. To the western side of the Great Bath, there is a great big granary. It was used for storing grains. Now granaries are nothing but big storerooms in which grains are stored. Grains means, yes, edible seeds are called grains. So here in the granary, which is towards the western side of the Great Bath, there was a granary where grains were stored. In the citadel at Harappa, citadel is nothing but an elevated place where meetings were held. In the citadel at Harappa, we find as many as 6 granaries. In the citadel at Harappa, there were 6 granaries. How many? 6 granaries. A brick dockyard has been discovered at Lothal. Brick dockyard. Dockyard is a place where ships come and take a halt, where loading and unloading of goods and passengers is being done. Such a place is called a dockyard. So at Lothal, we find a dockyard. So a brick dockyard has been discovered at Lothal, which the historians believe could have been one of the important port cities of the Indus Valley civilization. Since there was a big dockyard there, we can say that maybe during the Harappan civilization or Indus Valley civilization time, Lothal might have been a big port city. Port city is a place where normally ships from other places come and take a halt there. At Kalibagan and also at Lothal, fire altars have been found which indicate that some kind of sacrifices was performed here. So here fire altars were formed. Where? At Kalibagan and Lothal. That means here some kind of sacrifice. Sacrifice is belief. Sacrifices, it doesn't mean for animals or human beings only. Sacrifices can also be for things. When you put some samagri in Havan Kund, that is also a sacrifice, right? Yes. So here as they find fire altars, it indicates that some kind of, here they might have performed some sacrifices. Otherwise the ashes wouldn't be there. If there is a fire, ash will be there, right? Next, talking about the economic condition. Means related to money or how rich they were. Firstly, in economic condition, we'll look into the agricultural part. The Indus Valley was fertile due to the annual inundation in the Indus River. It was very fertile because Indus River was flowing from there and Indus River made the land very fertile. Walls made of burnt bricks for protection show that floods took place annually. Annually means every year. So here across the river Indus you can see big walls made of bricks. This shows that maybe every year this land got flooded. Flooded means, yes, when there is heavy rains we get flood. Purana, right? Pur. Yes, that is flood. So this shows that maybe this river flooded every year, that is annually, and that is why to protect themselves from this water, flood water, these people had built walls made of bricks. The alluvial soil carried by the river Indus and its tributaries made the soil of the region very fertile. This soil was fertile because river Indus and its tributaries flow from there. Agriculture was one of the main economic activity of the people. Toy models of plough have been recovered from the sites indicating that ploughs were used for agriculture. They made toys for their kids out of the wood, and these toy models made of wood or clay, they had some toys which had plough in them. You also have, right? Yes, the kitchen set nowadays which small kids, small girls play with. The kitchen set is made of plastic, and from that we understand what type of vessels nowadays we use in our original kitchens. The shapes and the forms are the same. But what we use is bigger in size and made of metal, and the toy articles are of plastics, right? Yes, similarly they had toys in which you find a toy that is a plough. Plough is normally used for ploughing the field. So when they saw this toy which is a plough, they understood that if they have made a toy that is a plough, then originally also they used a plough for the agriculture purpose. It is probable that people sowed seed in the flood plains in November, and when the flood water recreated, they repaid their harvest in April. It shows that, people during the month of November, when it was flooded and the water is there, they sowed the seed. And once the seeds or the plants are ripened, in the month of April they harvested them, means the cutting is done. So growing was done in the month of November when the flood was over and everywhere the water is available in large quantity. At that time they start sowing the seed, and then after that in the month of April they started harvesting before the event of the next flood. Because in April they harvested, because after April, maybe right now also we are having, right, in the month of mid-May or end of the May and June first week, monsoon starts. So before the rain arrives for the next year, they harvest their crop. After the rain is over in November, they sow the seeds, and April they harvest it, so that once it starts raining, their crops don't get polluted or don't get wet. Right? Many of the Harappan sites fell in the low rainfall area, and it is likely that irrigation was necessary for cultivation. So there were some Harappan sites which were in low rainfall area. Low rainfall area is area where there is little rainfall. So there was a necessary of irrigation. Now in those areas they need to grow the crops also. So how did they do that? It is probable that farmers had system to divert the water from river and stored it to be used for watering plants and crops. So this showed that in those areas where there is little rainfall, still they had agriculture there, still they cultivated crops there. That means they did some technique, they used some technique through which they diverted the river water towards their field. They stored it for watering their plants. So how did they do it? Right now also we are having canals, right? Through which we divert the flow of the water to those areas where there is scarcity of water. Right? We have learnt about that. So here also these people also use some kind of trick, some technique through which the water in the river got diverted and they cropped their plants and crops. Wheat and barley were the main crops cultivated by the Indus people. We find evidence of barley from the site of Banavali. So barley, wheat were the crops that was cultivated by these people. Dates, field peas, sesame and mustard were also grown. So these crops were also grown here along with wheat and barley. It seems that rice was cultivated at Lothal, where rice was embedded in the clay and pottery have been discovered. Rice was also cultivated. We can find it in Lothal, right? And we find that embedded in the clay pots means it was stored in this clay pots. Now, here they have also given an information. Cotton was first used by Harappan people because it was first produced in Sindh area. Cotton clothes are even famous now. So cotton was firstly cultivated by Indus people or the Harappan people because it was being produced in the Sindh area. Greeks called it Sindon. So Greeks called it Sindon, derived from the word Sindh. Sindon is derived from the word Sindh. Now animal husbandry, other than agriculture, animal husbandry was also practiced. Animal husbandry is rearing of animals or domestication of animals. The people of Indus Valley civilization practiced animal husbandry. They domesticated animals such as oxen, buffaloes, goats, sheep and pigs. Cats and dogs were regarded as pets. Cat and dog also they domesticated, but they call them pets. Asses and camels were possibly used for transporting goods. camel and ass. Ass is a donkey, right? They used them for transporting their goods. Remains of the horse have been found from Surkotada. Remains of horse. That means if they have found the remains of horse, it means that they also used horse, right? And where did they find the remains of horse? Yes, it is at Surkotada. Elephants are also commonly found. Elephants were also found. That means they used elephants as well. The seal depicting the humped bull suggested that they were commonly reared during this period. The seal, you know seal, right? Yes, the stamps what you say nowadays. These seals, in those seals also they had a picture in which you see a bull with a hump on its back. This also showed that they even reared them. Next, talking about the art and craft. So this was regarding the economy, that is agriculture and animal husbandry. Now art and craft, they were very artistic people, right? So art and craft was much, greatly practiced in that region. We find evidence of practice of several art and craft forms by the people of Indus Valley civilization. Many art and craft forms were found in Indus Valley civilization. These indicate the emergence of specialists. If art and craft was there, that means people living in that Indus Valley civilization, they were specialized in few things, who are trained to do one kind of work such as sculpting, polishing, beads and making seals. So for all these work, people were trained, well trained, and they were specialized in that. Copper and bronze were used for making vessels, ornaments, tools and weapons. So which two metals were used? Yes, copper and bronze. They made vessels, that is utensils, vessels, the one which you use in the kitchen. Yes, ornaments means jewelries, tools and weapons, all these were made of copper and bronze. Now, talking about bronze figurines. The people of Indus Valley civilization demonstrated great skill in making bronze figurines. Figurines means statues, small statues of bronze they made. The most striking of them is the bronze dancing girl from Mohenjo-daro, which we have discussed in our earlier grade also. Dancing girl. Now next is ornament. The Harappan people also had knowledge of metals like gold and silver. They also used gold and silver. They used these metals to make ornaments. Ornaments is jewelry. So what ornaments? Like beads, that is moti. Pendants. Then armlets. Armlets is one you wear in your hand is armlet, and anklet is one you wear in your leg. Right? Payal, what you call, that is anklet. Armlet is what you wear in your hand is armlet. So they made armlets, brooches and bracelets out of these gold and silver. Shells were also used to make ornaments. Shells are nothing but the shells what you find at the beaches. Right? That also was used for making ornaments. Bead making. What is bead making? Bead making was an important craft. People used precious metals and stone like carnelian, statolite, agate, chalcedony and jasper to make beautiful beads. All these things were used for making beads, moti, right? We find evidence of the bead makers' shops at Chanuadaro and Lothal. These places you find the evidence that these beads were being sold in the shops, and bead maker shops were also there. Next, talking about the seal. The most notable artistic achievement of the people of Indus Valley civilization was perhaps in this seal engraving. Seal engraving, seals what they put, right, to mark their possession. That is seal engraving, especially those of animals which looked very realistic. On the seals they had engraved some animals which looked very realistic, means it looks like a real one. The best engraving are of the bull, rhinoceros, tigers, etc. All these animals were engraved in the seal. Specimens of this art are to be seen also in amulets and other small objects. Amulets and other small objects also they had marked the seals. Around 2000 seals have been found during the excavation of various Harappan sites. In different Harappan sites altogether, around 2000 seals have been found till now. Next, talking about terracotta. What is terracotta? Yes, a reddish brown soil which was used to make toys and all. That soil is called terracotta. We have also learned this, right? The Harappan people also made clay models called terracotta figurines. Clay models. Clay, which type of clay? Yes, reddish brown clay. They use for making figurines, that is murti. Right? That those models are called terracotta figurines. These were made of fire-baked earthen clay. These figurines were also baked in the fire. And it was made of earthen clay and were used either as toys or object of worship. And these figurines, they were either toys or for worship, murti, for which we worship, right? Which we keep in the temple for praying. It's called for worship. Now, other than this, what are the other art and crafts? The Harappan people practiced numerous other art and crafts. Cloth weaving and pottery making, very important crafts. Cloth weaving, they weaved their clothes. They also made the pots. These were also the important craft at that time. Fragments in glazed red pottery with black geometric design on it has been found in several places. So fragments and glazed red pottery. Glazed red pottery means red pottery which has shine on it. It is called glazed red pottery. They are also found and it had geometric designs in them. Not the plain pots. They also did designs on them. So these are all the arts. Now raw material. To make all these things they need raw material. The raw material for various craft and art was either locally available, either they made all these things with whatever material was available to them, that is locally available, or imported from other areas, or they even bought from other areas for making craft. The raw material was also bought from different places. Bronze was made by the smith by mixing tin and copper. How did they make bronze? Yes, by mixing tin and copper. Copper came from the Khetri copper mines of Rajasthan and tin came from Afghanistan. So now to make bronze they want copper and tin. So this copper was found in Khetri, that is Khetri copper mine which was in Rajasthan, and tin was brought from Afghanistan. Then they mixed these two things and made bronze. Right? Similarly, gold may have been imported from Afghanistan and Persia. Gold, they used to wear gold ornament, right? So this gold was also imported from Afghanistan and Persia. Silver came from Afghanistan and Iran. And silver came from Afghanistan and Iran. So these are the different places from where they imported different things. Now related to social life of the people. How was the social life of people? Class differs. Class differs means in social life, they also had upper class, lower class people. Structural remains of the houses indicate that class differences were present in Harappan society. This shows the houses that they lived in. It shows that even in that time, there were class differences. Upper class people, lower class people. The big houses would have been occupied by the rich while smaller houses and two-room cottages would have been used by the poorer section of the society. Next, talking about trade and contact. What type of trade and contacts they had with the neighboring countries or neighboring places. A well-organized commerce was the characterized feature of the Indus Valley civilization. These people traded with cities of Mesopotamia, where some 24 Harappan seals have been found. In Mesopotamia, that is Mesopotamian civilization, when they excavated the sites of Mesopotamia, they found around 24 of Harappan seals. 24. 1 dozen is 24. 1 dozen is 12, so 2 dozen comes to 24. Around 24 Harappan seals were found from Mesopotamia. This shows that these people had trade contact with Mesopotamia. Similarly, several cylindrical seals of Mesopotamian origin have been found in Indus Valley civilization or Indus Valley region. And Mesopotamian seals, cylindrical means round, right? They were found in Indus Valley region. So, Harappan seal in Mesopotamia and Mesopotamian seal in Indus Valley. That means they had some trade connections. Next, talking about religious practices. Numerous female figurines in terracotta have been found from various sites of the Indus Valley civilization. Female means the figurines of girls, ladies. These are believed to represent mother goddesses. This shows that they prayed mother goddesses much. Right? Devi. Yes. People worship the earth as the fertility goddess. They also worship the earth as fertility because this earth, it produces good quality of crops due to which they get large amount of money. That is why they pray to goddess earth and they say that it was a fertility goddess. Earth was a fertility goddess. The people tree was also considered to be sacred. Even now we pray it, right? People tree. Gujarati we say pipdo. Right? It was also considered a sacred tree at that time. Evident from it, depiction in many seals. Why? How do we come to know that it was a sacred tree? Because in many seals, this people tree is being found. The most striking deity of Harappan culture is the horned god on the seal. Horned god is being found on the seal. That is one of the major important things. He is depicted to have 3 heads and horns. Now this god is said to have 3 heads. This god had 3 heads and horns. Right? He is shown as sitting in the yogic posture. This god is sitting in the yogic posture. Means the posture in which we do yoga is called yogic posture. Placing one foot on the other. Means folding his leg, in which he has placed one foot on the other. He is surrounded by an elephant, a tiger, a rhinoceros, a buffalo and 2 deers. So this god's figurine is surrounded by different animals. This looks like the image of Lord Shiva, and it looked like as if it was the image of Lord Shiva. We also come across evidence of linga worship. We do right today also, right? Shivling. Yes. So there were evidence that they also worshipped the ling. Now regarding the script, the people belonging to this civilization also developed pictographic script. Script means literature. So people of Indus Valley civilization, they had pictographic script. Means the script, all the things are written in picture forms. Pictography. The script has not been deciphered till date, but till date means till now we have not decoded them. We have not understood what exactly is written in them. Right? So it is not, still now, till date it is not been deciphered. Once we are able to read and understand the script, more information about the civilization will be available. So if somebody could decode it, could understand, could read what is being written by them in the pictographic manner, then we can get more information about the Indus Valley civilization. But till now it has not been decoded. Now talking about the decline. How did this civilization come to an end? Around 1750 BCE, the Harappan culture began to decline. Slowly and gradually it started declining. Various causes have been suggested for this change. So there may be many changes, and due to which they got declined. Now exactly we don't know how did it get declined, but slowly and gradually changes come and this civilization got declined. Various causes have been suggested for this change. We see that at all the Harappan sites, planning and construction became less efficient than earlier times. Because slowly and gradually the strong planning, town planning, the drainage, everything, slowly and gradually it became less efficient. People were not, so perfect in their work. At Mohenjo-daro, signs of decline are more evident than at the other side. In Mohenjo-daro, you can see that slowly and gradually they were not so efficient in, all these constructions and all. It is suggested that city of Mohenjo-daro became weaker under the pressure of population. And why did Mohenjo-daro become weaker day by day? Because of the population, growing population. As the population increased, people started, panicking themselves, and they were not so efficient. They did all the work in hurry, and that is why the work got spoiled. Right? Whatever you do in a hurry, all gets spoiled. So slowly and gradually, because of increasing population, this Mohenjo-daro became more and more weaker. There was an influx of refugees into the city. Influx of refugees. Refugees are people who come from the outer part of the area and they start living there. So people from different parts other than the Indus Valley civilization, they came to Indus region and they started settling there. At Mohenjo-daro, rooms are divided into smaller portions and street plans were no longer followed. The rooms which was followed, right, all the rooms or houses were of the same type. But slowly and gradually at Mohenjo-daro, these rooms were slowly started getting divided. And street plans were also not followed. They had street plans, right? That the opening will be in the sideways, main road, there will be no opening at all. But this was not followed later on. Some people suggested that expansion of neighboring desert increased the salinity in the soil and decreased fertility. Some people also say that the surrounding area, as it started becoming deserted land, that is why the fertility of the land, that is the ability of growing crops, was also decreasing. Later, slowly and gradually, the crops were not growing so well. That is why people started to leave the place and go to other places. This in turn declined the production of crops and was responsible for the decline of civilization. And slowly and gradually this civilization might have got declined. Others consider flood as the main cause. But some also consider that the flooding of the river Indus might also be one of the cause for the declination of this civilization. As I told you earlier, Indus river flooded every year, right? So that might also be the cause for the decline. So excavation revealed that Mohenjo-daro itself was flooded more than once. Mohenjo-daro full city was flooded more than one time. Traces of last three main phases of deep flooding can be detected here. So here we also have got evidences which say that Mohenjo-daro was being flooded. Okay? So now, some scholars are also of view that the river changed their course or dried up. Some say that rivers changed their course, means the route of the water flowing got changed. The river changed its route and They also say that the rivers also got dried up. So if there is no water, then the people cannot grow the crops, and then they start shifting to other places, which again led to the shift of the population to other areas. Since the water is not available, people start shifting to other areas. Whatever be the reason, the sudden disappearance of this civilization remains mystery. But slowly and gradually this civilization got disappeared. But what had happened actually, it is a mystery. Means we have not known till now what is the exact reason. New city could emerge after about 1250 years, around 600 BCE, about which we will read later. Later in 1250 years, that is in 600 BC, new city was developed, and that we will read in the next chapters. Okay? So here we come to the end of this chapter. Now I request you all to read the chapter once and then complete your CW work which I am sending to you, and also your chapter end worksheet. You can refer to the textbook to complete your work. Clear? If you have liked this video, please click on the like icon. Bye. See you in the next session.